Welcome along, everyone. What was it like, that experience, jumping into your first race?
It's been my life ever since I can remember.
Look, it really was unbelievable.
I think it's awesome.
Just go out there and give it your all every time. And
when you're young and you get in your old man super stock and you wreck it, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Craig Booker with the big smile. He is the voice that's behind what you get to hear every Sunday night.
Give it the hoot, Daddy. Look at that field. Doesn't it look fantastic?
Hey everyone, welcome along to your Wednesday Fix on Speedway. We've got an extra special show tonight. It's all about one of the legends of modifieds. I'll tell you more about that. But hey, it's good to have you back on In the Kokpit with KINSER. And my good mate here, bumping around with Booker. How you, Booker?
I'm pretty good, mate. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited for tonight to have one of the legends of the modified sport, or one of the legends of the Speedway even, mate, to come on and talk to us, or talk to you tonight. I'm going to sit in the background and let you do all the hard work. But yeah, I picked up the motorhome this week, so we're all ready to go. Start get it ready for next Speedway season and doing the show at the end of this season. So getting excited, mate. Getting excited.
Good on you, mate. And your Easter weekend, did you get to any race meetings overall? Any Speedway tracks?
I went to the second night at Miami. Unfortunately, it rained 3/4 of the way through the night. It seemed to be the story of the Speedway around the country, didn't it? I mean, Rotorua got rained out the second night too. I believe they've postponed that, haven't they? I think Rotorua to another minute. I don't know what else. Auckland got run out too, did they? They get rained out as well.
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon. But yeah, there was a fair bit of that. You know, there were a lot of meetings up and down the countryside. Easter was just busy everywhere, just about nearly every track that was operating. I think the Glen kind of wrapped up their season down in the South Island. But, you know, Easter, traditionally, we all know it's a wet one, and it did wet the Speedway season. Where I was, it was fine and sunny. I was actually over in Tauranga and watching the grandson play at the Easter basketball champs and enjoying myself over there. So no Speedway fix for me for the weekend, but glad you got out there to see what you could see, mate, at Miami. And isn't it good just to have Miami back, though, after what they've been through over the last few months, eh?
Mate, yeah, it was awesome. And it wasn't a huge crowd, but it was a good crowd. And there was some, you know, real Speedway people there, you know, that stuck it out for the cold and everything else. So, but it was good to see the club going, and as we know, the club's taken over the track for next season, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes as well. Actually, Kins, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, they do well. They've got some big meetings next year, so but we've got a few tuning in. Wayne Otten with his cheeky comments already, Kins. I saw something about Daniel Chalk. Yes, we are looking at doing a teams nationals build up. We are in the process of organising some of that. So yes, that'll be next Wednesday night. So I don't know if we're doing more than one night, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned
side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for those who would have found out via social media, everything on social media pretty well keeps you up to date, especially on the Speedway scenes around the countryside. It is a one-nighter at the Team Nationals as well. And yes, the Bay Park Busters team has been announced. We saw that. I see Ryan's back in the team as well. So, you know, look forward to seeing how that rolls out next weekend. And yeah, so we'll see how things will roll out there and see what happens. Pinako Rawiri, see his car's on a bit of buy and sell there. He's watching the show. Our mate, Dwayne Martin, Sparky, Lars from Oz is on board. Wayne Otten, Richard and Trudy Aldridge down in Stratford. Actually, talking to Stratford, we went through the Speedway calendar next year for championship stuff. Stratford is going to be one of the tracks to be with so much going on there.
Yes, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it, mate? Yeah.
Yeah,
when we're looking at that the other night,
Gorge.
yeah.
Yeah, Muzza's watching, mate. Oh, Murray Gorge.
Oh, look at that,
eh?
we won't tell Murray how easily Jamie managed to connect up and his internet works. No. Glad to have Murray Thomas on board.
Yeah, Dave's on there. Mark Goodman. Yeah, good to see. Yeah, we're all fitting good. Everything's all good here. Yeah, Wayne Honor's in there. Daniel's already commented. Daniel Petrie's there as well. Paul Mason. The list just goes on. Scotty Phipps, Steve-O Fox. So Scotty's actually over in Aussie. We'll have to do a bit of a catch up with you sometime soon, mate. We've got Brian Howe online, Paul Mason team, me, Time Kaiko here over the Easter. What's some of your stuff? Carl Carpendale is always watching. Actually, there was a bloody good write-up on Carl Carpendale, some words from the team of Garage 16 in the latest Dirt Track magazine.
Yeah, that was their final one.
Final one, yeah. It's a good write-up. You get a poster of Jonas England in there as well, with the Havana Coffee 2NZ modified. So great that one. Bobby Johns is on. Ams, our good friend Ams. Chris Hislop's watching as well. Luke Brown, another modified drivers. All the modified drivers are rocking on.
Yeah, they want to see what Foxy has to say, mate.
He's sitting in the background smiling at us, so they're all hanging out to see what Foxy's going to say. Because Foxy doesn't really do a lot of media. We were just talking to him off air. This is something he's going to become part of, obviously, because the young ones are into it and the social media interaction now. It's the world that he never knew about, obviously, because he's been racing. And we're going to talk about when it all started with Foxy, some of his close battles, his favorite and least favorite tracks, his trip over to the States, and the crew that are watching as well. They're going to throw in a few questions. So just keep the comments coming in, everyone, and we'll try and get through them as quick as we can throughout the show. But yeah, they just keep coming, and Deacon Butcher's watching as well. Hey, Deacon, what does the fox say? That's that song.
Yeah. That's old Ames, mate. No, it's all starting now. Hey, Deacon, I saw he raced well on this is his final years of mini stocks. Remember, he won the mini stocks in Paradise for his final season of mini stocks, and he'll probably be in the Super next year. But he drove well again on the weekend too at Mearney, young Deacon. So that was good to see, and even Dad was there with the super stock, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, hard out, mate, hard out, and no doubt Dad will be jumping out, and the young fella will jump in there one day. New car's looking good. Cool, awesome, Carl. I've seen your updates, mate, and also Derek Leach bring the Jamie fix. Derek is watching at the moment as well, so it's good. Just want to wish speed recovery too. Actually, I saw a bit of a footage from a midget race. Had a bit of a shit. He got high up, mate, really high. A bit of an accident at Palmy in the weekend. So hope things are on the mend there. And I actually saw Gooch, Brendan Gooch, is it? The street stock driver. They had the accident a few little while back.
The guy that had the back injury. Yeah.
He's starting to walk around and get a bit of movement on there.
Oh, that's awesome news to hear, isn't it? You always love to hear that, Kins, when you hear about an accident as people, someone makes a great starts to make a recovery, you know. Because that Gooch family, they're a pretty good racing family too, mate? You know, like
100%, mate.
And I believe what's his name in the Golden Oldie? He's coming right now too. Oh, that's terrible. I forgot his name. Some bloody media company we are. We can't even remember people.
It'll pop up. Someone will pop up.
But it's good to see he's doing well too. So I hope he makes a full recovery as well. But it looks like he is doing well. Is it Lee? Oh, man. I'm going to have to look it up now, mate, because it'll bug me all night if I don't get the name right, you know. It's, I spoke about him last week. It's just you try to remember so much, don't you? And I've got so much going on around me on these bloody screens.
You're only going to have one screen soon. So
yeah, I know. I'm downgrading, shall we say.
Keith Turner.
Keith Turner. It's just come up then in front of me here. So I saw a notice the other day. Thank you, team. He's doing a great recovery too. I think he's out of ICU now in Wellington. So that's good to see it's that he's making a speedy recovery too. So it's good to hear.
Also, just thinking of the Mercer family as well. I saw on the Facebook the passing of one of the greats of the old A-grade stock car days, John Mercer. So just thinking of that. Peter Jones from over in Australia. Pete's in there. Bloody damn good racer online he is. I see Darren Robs on here watching as well. Our mate Brad Wright's in there watching. The list just goes on. Fox a Legend from Kevin Shannon. Who else we got here? Zach Harris here. Thanks for the update there. The Aussie boys, got the Aussie boys from the Aussie iRacing team watching us at the moment. Anyway, I suppose we better head and bring in our guest.
I think so. I'm going to pop out and I'm going to bring in Jamie, and let you guys have a few. Make sure I mute myself so I don't come across the top of it all. So, here we go.
All right, mate. See you soon. So there we go. Craig Booker will join us towards the end of the show. As you can see, this is the guy that you're all been waiting for. The promotion on this throughout the day, the last few days, it's just been unbelievable, actually. And it's just great to have a massive audience watching this. He doesn't really need an introduction. You can see the name there and the man himself, Jamie Foxx. How are you, Jamie?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And just thank you, first and foremost, for taking some time out to join us. I know you got a bit of activity up there when it comes to the weather over the last few days, mate. And we were going to do a bit of a test yesterday, but hey, you had priorities. So firstly, just thank you for coming to join us, eh?
No, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Mate, this is not your kind of cup of tea doing these interview things, eh? This is kind of a whole new thing for you, but you beat Murray Gorge. You're able to connect with it just like that.
I had a bit of help from you, though, I think.
Mate, racing, let's go right back and take a look at this. I've got some notes here. Thanks to Jamie for helping me out with this as well. 1986 is when it began. God, that's a few moons ago, mate.
Yeah, a long time ago. Murray would have been a young fella then. I was watching him.
Is that how you got into it, watching Murray?
No. I actually got into it. My cousin is Roy Walker. He raced saloons in Auckland. He still races. He lives up north now. He still races up there. But I used to go and watch him. And as a young fella, I just got in a passion for it and decided to give it a go.
That's how it started, eh? And you would have been a young buck back in 86 too.
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah. Can't remember back that far, but.
Yeah. But so what, was this in Auckland when it started? Can you remember back in 86? Was this in Auckland?
Yeah, it was. I started in Auckland. I was a young fella, used to go with my uncle to Waikareca to watch Roy in the saloons. He was racing in the day when Ray Wright and Ray Chatfield and them were racing saloons. So, I just sort of grew up a few years later and decided to try and build a modified, which, funny enough, the first car I ever did build was a bit of a weapon that Murray built. I think it was Newt's car. It was an offset thing, had the motor on the side. So my first modified was very similar, although it was a 6-cylinder. I figured that would be the way to build one. So when you go around the corners, it won't lean over.
So, when you think about 86, mate, and obviously...
Oh, you lost your sound. I've lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're away now.
All right. Yeah, we've got a few things going on here at the moment, but I'm guessing from 86, we're going to talk about this throughout the show. You would have seen the development of the modifieds over decades, but we're going to talk a bit about that. You've got Dave Thomas here talking about Roy Walker 61A. Sean Smith jumped in there and said a few commenters are too much Dad Foxy. Scotty Phipps, the man and the legend, Mr. Foxy. Rob Connolly. Hi, Foxy, from Sponge and CJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mate, you've made a hell of a lot of friends, and I can see some of these names popping up, eh?
Yeah, no, I certainly have. We've obviously been in the sport for a long time, and some of the memories, we've had some great friends, still friends with a lot of these people today, and it was awesome the other week to catch up with Roger Bertram and Murray Gorge. Obviously they're great ambassadors of the sport, and between them two, I think over the years that's what's fueled us to with the passion to do what we do.
Yeah.
Your sound's gone again.
Background, so he might just have to sneak in there 1 minute at a time. We'll see how we get on, mate. But yeah, a few things going. It's no different to your motorsport, mate. When things bloody play up in the race car, they can bloody play up, eh?
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, we've got things bloody going fun, but be technology wise, I don't know what's going on here. It's just out of my bloody league. Hey, look, you got so many fans joining on, jumping on board. So I'm guessing, when people ask the question, who were you looking up to when you were racing back in your early career? Who were the people you wanted to follow? You made mention of Murray Gorge and many others.
Yeah, well, obviously it was Roy, my cousin.
Yeah.
He was great in his day, and he still is. But yeah, as the modifieds progressed, the guys. Oh, there's a lot of guys, but the guys like Phil Game, Roger Bertram, and Murray Gorge. I had the pleasure of racing with Ray Jones, and I did an early stint with Neil Cowley, I think it was, and he was a New Zealand champ, and um, Willie Noonan, guys like that that haven't raced for a long time, but they were certainly hard charges, and different way of driving, different racing in those days to what we've got now. It's a little bit more calculated, and us old fellas struggle a bit with it, I think.
Mate, you're not struggling because you just recently had a victory over the bloody weekend, eh?
Yeah, we finally we've had some gremlins with the car, which we haven't really. Each time we think we've got it sorted, it plays up again. So, but we're hopefully on top of that now, and yeah, just lucky for me. I think Luke and Brad had a little bit of bad luck, and we had pretty good luck. So, swings and roundabouts, and that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, mate. If Lady Luck's not on your side, it's just how the Rozok can not go the way you want it to. You put so much into it. And we always ask the people that we interview on the show, mate, because it's not just about you that's out there on the track doing all the work. There's a lot of family, there's a lot of crew. And we're going to touch on your sponsors that have been loyal to you for a long time, mate. But let's talk about the family side of things, because there's a lot of sacrifice there.
Yeah, for sure. When you mentioned '86 when I started,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I was able to start actually was my wife got a fairly good paycheck from her job for I think it was a tax return or something, and that I lured her into giving me that to buy half a car to start to build it. So yeah, no, she's certainly sacrificed a lot. It's a cruel sport for the families, for the woman, and my crew are no different there. My crew have been with me basically pretty much all my career, and they never had kids, and now they're kids. I was at one of Chris's daughter's 21st yesterday when we tried to touch base. So yeah, that's 21 years, and she wasn't even born when he was growing for me at the start. So
Yeah.
it's without the family, I've been really lucky. My family, wife at least puts up with it still, and the kids and the muckles and all that, they love it. So yeah, it's definitely they got a big part to play, and they don't really get a hell of a lot out of it.
Mhm. Yeah, 37 years, mate. You've been racing straight and you're still bloody going strong, Daniel Chalk, will you ever race a super saloon? Because we've interviewed superstock drivers, mate, and a lot of them are moving into the super saloon class. And actually, we just had Thomas Stanaway on the show last Wednesday. If he can sell his car, his wife said, if you can sell your superstock, we'll go and get a super saloon. Would you ever think of racing a super saloon?
I have driven a saloon. I drove one up north in Taipa, my cousin Roy's one, and I didn't really go that well, and I didn't really like it. But yeah, I think they're too big, too big for me.
Grant Addison, hi Foxy, go hard, mate. Here's some of the names that are popping in your friends on way back. Mike Pugh, I have got one of your first T-shirts back in the day. Mike Pugh still got one of those. Michaela Edwards, hi Granddad.
Yeah, that's my granddaughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, love.
Aisha Bruce, hi Granddad.
Yeah. We've just had her 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it's awesome. Awesome.
It's awesome, mate. Daniel Petrie, hey Foxy, what's your favorite track?
I'd have to say Waikareka. I love Stratford. I like the Stratford track. It's a momentum sort of track, and it's fast. But to be fair, look, on the day, hey, any track's as good as anything, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's they've all got their little quirks, and that's what makes a good driver, to be able to go to all these tracks and feature in at any track. That's how you get better, you know.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You know, and obviously the season, we touched on it just briefly earlier. The weather's kind of upset it, and I kind of keep in touch with your Facebook page, on your racing page, and the weather's just been a real bugger, but it's also made it tough. And now we're talking tracks, is trying to get a consistent track, because you've got those guys and ladies who work on the tracks to try and get it prepared as best as they can for race drivers. But sometimes this water's just too much, eh?
Yeah, well, that's what happened at the New Zealand's, didn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Red looked to me for the first night, the track looked awesome, and then it came down hard, and he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. They had to run the meeting in one day, and to be fair, the track was a hard track, but he done an awesome job to bring it back later in the day to make it um, worthwhile racing on. And I mean, I think it showed, because there wasn't a lot of crashes. And if the track's good, generally you'll get good racing. You know, it's hard if there's a real dust bowl and it's a slick bowl and everyone's running on 2 inches of the track. You're just going to have cars going nowhere and trying to poke their nose in on the pole line and crash. And that's the difference with us, is being
Yeah.
open wheel. If you rub wheels, there's a chance you're going to go over. You know.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and when you take a look at when you take a look at the volunteer people that work their butts off at these race tracks up and down the country, dealing with the weather, they're out there once the race meeting's over. They're on their graders, they're on the machinery, trying to get the track ready for the next day. They're the ones that's back there at the crack of dawn, doing all these works. So, you know, to all those who prep track out there, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And obviously, we get to see people like yourself put on a show for the fans. And let's talk about the fans, Foxy, because no doubt the fans have followed you for your, what is it, nearly 40 years of racing, 37 years, mate. You've built your fans over the last 30. The fans mean so much to you, eh?
Yeah, for sure. You know, like it's great. You know, it's great to see the fans coming down, and it's part of why you race, I suppose. It's the excitement and the pleasure of doing well for them, and it's great to see the kids. You know, they come down and they're just awesome. So yeah, no, we still love that. We try and keep the car out as long as we can. So after the meeting, if kids come down, they can jump in it and stuff like that. It's great for them, and the parents love it. So yeah, it's just getting tough now. It's the sort of weather that's too cold. Now it gets a bit cold, and it's hard to get a crowd. So yeah, normally this time of the year we're just about finished normally.
Yeah, mate, when you start talking getting colder, I think both and you can verify it's our age, mate. We're getting older. Our bones can't handle it, mate.
Yeah, we got to get out to Stratford next week, so I think that'll be cold hole. I think it's normally
Yeah.
cold down there.
Yeah, by the mountain and everything as well. Laura Matthews
Yeah.
says, hi, Foxy. Good luck for this weekend in Stratty. Tom Ward's on board watching as well. Mike Pugh with Pink Modified and Shell on it. That's the t-shirt he's talking about, the Pink Modified and Shell on it. Remember that one?
Yeah. I built that. I built that
Yeah.
car myself. It was sort of yeah, we sort of sculpted around the pits and copied a few things off a few cars, and yeah, we done well in that car. It was a great car, and I suppose that's where we started to take off, Murray and Birdie, and then we're getting a bit old by then, so I was able to not win all the time, but I was getting better and better, and
Yeah.
we had some great races, you know.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And Dave Thomas actually wants a question if we to answer. It's like, we were talking about this off air. I remember your yellow car, the big car, the 99, but now you're 11A. Why the change from 99 to 11A?
99 was predominantly when I I had my own car, and then I started to race for my mate Brian Clark, his dad, Des Clark, which a lot of guys in the sport would know. Um, I started racing for him, so I sold my car and I was racing Des's car. And that number 99 was Brian Clark's number when he raced modifieds. That was his number. So part of the deal was when I drove their car, it was 99. And sadly, when Des passed away, I finished racing for him, and we bought my own car. We sort of retired that number 99 to leave it back with Des, with his legacy. That was love him or hate him, he was king man in the sport, and he sort of opened the door for me because I couldn't afford to run top end gear. So he gave me that opportunity, and I worked with his son for 30 odd years, and we're still great mates. I had a few beers with him last night, and he still sponsors me. That's BDC Engineering. So yeah, it's that was how it come about, and we decided once he passed away that we would run number 11, which that come about was because at the time I was 1NZ, and we couldn't be bothered changing the sign writing, so we just bought another one and put next to that one, and that made it number 11. So that saved us a few bucks in the sign writing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's your answer to that question. We don't ask any more about that one. It's a simple one. Rocket Racing, you know who this is, the Lane family. Good old Anne, the real MVP.
Yeah, no, she's been a backbone of the outfit, really. She doesn't have much to do with racing now, my wife, but she still lets me do it, and she's to be fair, I think she gets a bit nervous. We're getting older, and she's a bit worried about I've had a couple of injuries, so she gets a little bit nervous, but yeah, she definitely has been the support for me over the years. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you're exactly right, mate. You can't do it without your loved one. Foxy all the way. Chris Hislop's watching as well. Steve O Fox, Manara and Archie said hi, Granddad.
Yeah, they're my young fellas.
Yeah. Tracy Vincent, hey Tracy, good to have you on board. You travelled up and down the country watching a lot of racing. Gary Stones, remember the days with Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon Coe.
Coe,
yeah. I remember. Yeah, no, he was a good fellow. He drove my first modified once, actually. Old Brendan. Yeah, he was a good man. He was the president of the club, actually. When I'm pretty sure from memory, he was the president. He had a heart attack.
Yeah,
passed away. But they were great guys and great days.
Yeah, now there's heaps of memories come here. Yeah. Daniel O'Neill, I do the track prep at Gisborne, have done for 5+ years. I have been around the track more times than most drivers. That's Daniel O'Neill from Gisborne as well. It's just good to recognise these people who do a lot of work, the volunteers. It's not just the track people, and we use Reese as an example. He's got other roles he does at the track. And we're just talking about the recent New Zealand Championships. Foxy, a true legend of the sport you are, brother. My earliest recollections of you racing was we touched on this one, the Big Yellow Body 99, racing against other greats, Bertram, Galbraith, Martin. Who else has he got here? Martin, where's it gone? Pickerel, Inkwhistle, Game, Noonan. These are some of the names, when you think about it, all being on the podium, the list goes on. It's amazing you have stayed competitive right through your amazing career. You're a true legacy. There you go, mate. All the accolades are coming out now for you, Foxy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to take them all I can. Maybe not too many more coming.
But it's well deserved, Foxy. You've been 4 times 1NZ. You talked about that just briefly. Had the one there. You thought, I'll just put another bloody one, make it 11. That's how the 11 come around. But 4 times. What was it? 2017, 18 Stratford, 13 and 12 and 13 also in Stratford, tied with Luke Keegan. And then, of course, 2019 Christchurch, and also 2002 03 in Rotorua. Mate, people will just relish to get a 1NZ on the car, but you've had it 4 times.
Yeah, no, we've and all of those times we've had to work hard for it. And like when you touched on the tracks, one of the tracks that I struggled with is Christchurch. And that year there, it just rained and it was rained out. So they ran it all on one day like they did at Huntley. And just for that one day, we had the car on rails and it was good. And we won, it was a 30-lap race, you know. I've struggled with the dirt cups used to be, they were, are 30 laps again now. And we were always strong in them, but the last few I've really struggled, you know, whether it's a bit of it's the car, a bit of it's my fitness, and a bit of it's the age, I suppose. But yeah, we last week in Rotorua, we got the car a little bit better, so it's easier to drive. It feels a bit better, and hopefully we'll get back on track, you know.
Mate, you'll get back on track. You know, it's no different to what Am said here. There is no fox like an old fox. You're a legacy, and mate, you've always chased after a checkered flag. He's got bloody good memories from Huntley back in the day when things all started. Foxy is Sam's favourite modified driver of all time, Sam Lane.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Sam.
There you
She's not
go.
doing she's not doing too bad herself. She's really driving good, you know. Like
Yeah.
I think it was the Ginge Haywood last weekend. I watched the video of it, and Brad struggled to get past her, and then once he got past, she actually just about come back at him, you know. So she's certainly not giving him any favours, that's for sure.
Now, when you take a look at the recent champs at Huntley, you know, she qualified and she done really well for herself. And there's another young lady I remember rightly from back in the day, Natasha Rogers, if I remember the name.
Yeah.
Another young lady that was at racing, and she might have even got on a podium once upon a time, or close to it. Might have just missed out.
Yeah, she was very good, Natasha. Obviously, that's the relation of Jacob Mitchell's.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was real awesome. She was a good driver, you know. Her father was the backbone of that crew and setup, and unfortunately, once he passed away, I think the family struggled a bit. So I think she just faded off. But she helps Jacob. She crews for him, and yeah, no, we still see him if we go down the south.
Awesome, mate. So let's talk about South. You know, you've travelled the country. I'm guessing you just about raced 99.9% of the tracks here in New Zealand.
Yeah, pretty much wherever they've raced modifieds, we've raced. I raced at Nelson, which was that 1 year we raced there, and but mainly Christchurch and the West Coast over at Greymouth.
Yeah.
That's a great track, great guys, and great setup over there for the coasters. They got a real good deal, you know, good layout and awesome people.
Awesome, mate. Pete Rose, good to have you on the show watching. Wayne Otten, yeah. The cold getting the arthritis, say Foxy. That's Wayne Otten saying that there. It's getting to us, mate. And the older you get to feel a lot more. We were talking off air before we jumped into the show. Inspired a lot of us to race. Our Pink 99 was one of the best cars. Shot Woxy. That's from Fredo Morgan. Fredo's watching, mate.
Yeah, he helped me build that, so he's probably taken a pat on his back.
Jeffrey Mudgeway. Know the name?
Yep.
Jeff Mudgeway?
Yep.
It's been a long time, Foxy, since I've seen you. Was a long time fan. And then I got to meet you when you came to Pukikawa Quarry to put the plant together. Turned into a bigger fan after all of that, eh?
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's awesome to hear from some of these people.
Rocket Racing's jumped back in. Sam actually runs 199H, yet we all know that. On their modified, his Foxy was her idol. There we go, from your
That's cool.
99. Did you know that? From the yellow 99, did you know that?
No.
Yeah, there you go. You learned
You
something
made me-
new on our show. You learned something
Yeah.
new on the show, mate. There you go.
Oh, awesome.
And you no doubt you've done a lot of laps with her dad, with Brad and Sam's dad, over the years, and you've had some good battles. We are just talking off air earlier about that close battle at Bay Park. You know, the video has been thrown around here, but you've had some good battles with old Pops Lane, eh?
Yeah, no, for sure. He was a real hard driver himself, you know. It was always destined for Brad to follow up from him, and it's good to see Brad doing doing what he's doing, and he's doing really well. But yeah, me and Scotty, we go back a long way too. A good mate of his who passed away, Big L. We used to travel the country, and one year I think actually Scotty, I think it towed us to Bay Park before the new track opened.
Mm.
He was just starting out when they were living in Otahu, and going back a few years, but he was like us. He started out with what he had and did what he could with what he had, and that's just how everyone done it in those days,
Yeah, mate. Harder. You did what you had to do and get by with what you had at the day. And if you want to go racing, you just had to do what you did, and you kind of learnt the trade, just following lines of others. And long story short, mate, you followed the people you followed back in the day in the 80s, late 80s, through the 90s, and look at what you achieved. 12 podiums at a New Zealand title, just to name a few. You've had 13 podiums at the New Zealand Grand Prix. The list just goes on, and you briefly brushed across the Dirt Cup. Roger Bertrand won 3 Dirt Cups. You've actually won 9 Dirt Cups.
Yeah, we sort of always, I don't know, we always did well in them, and we still this year we finished third, but like I say, it's we're a little bit off the pace, but we'll get back there, and yeah, I'd just like to win 10 just to round that off, but I don't know, it's getting pretty tough. But yeah, I don't know, him and Murray, Birdie and Murray seemed to, and Willie at the time, they were always banging about. It was hard going for them, and every now and again you'd sneak through and win one while they were having their troubles. So they certainly had some pretty hard battles. Those Dirt Cups were tough. Is your sound gone? Been sabotaged, mate.
If you can hear me, I'll come in quickly. I think his Discord is what's causing his problem. Leave Discord, Kins, if you're losing your mic. Just go out of there altogether. So I'll just quickly jump in here, mate, while he's sorting himself out. You can hear me, Foxy, eh?
Yeah.
So I'll just go through some of these comments with you, mate. Like you got John Jackson here saying, true gentleman of the modified class and an absolute pleasure to race with you. Awesome whānau. So there you go, mate. The accolades are coming good and strong awesome tonight. I think that, oh, there he goes. He'll be back shortly. But I'll fill in the meantime. But, mate, it's good to see these people talking about it. And I think a lot of people remember the good old days too, with some of the comments. I mean, you made lifetime friends and met families and that through the sport. I mean, how much has that changed your life, so to speak? The relationships you made around the country with different people and families.
Oh, it's been awesome. Like I say, we're still friends with people that we haven't raced with for 10 years, 15 years. And it's great to catch up with them. And, I think life changed a little bit for me a little bit when Tama passed away, seeing his family and all that. And we took a bit of a step back, us as a family. And, he was a great ambassador of the sport. He's a great guy, Tama. And, we certainly had some good, hard racing together, but certainly me, him and Jacko and Dicko and Bunter and all them, and drunk a few beers afterwards. It was always a great atmosphere with those guys. And even as far back as Ginge Haywood and all them, they were lovely guys and awesome people, great guys down there to race with, and real hard chargers down there. That's why they win so many titles, these guys, they run hard, and they Merv Julian, he's another great guy, great racer, hard man, and just awesome to race with,
I mean, you mentioned Tama. I mean, we talked. We and Kins did a show down in Stratford. We talked about it to you earlier, and we had Jacko on, and a few others talking about, and Murray talking about Tama. He had quite a big impact on the sport, didn't he? Really, when you look back on it of yourself, same with your memories as well. He really made a stamp in the modified class, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he was very quiet, and yeah, he didn't, he was just went about his business, and a real pleasure to talk to and to have a few beers, and yeah, no, he's a great driver. He's a real hard driver, but he's real clean, and he loved Murray's cars, and yeah, he was a great, like Jacko. He's been a great ambassador for Murray Gorge cars, and yeah, he was a great guy. Great family, and really, obviously, big impact from for his family to handle, and sort of brought us closer to together as a family, because it was a terrible time. It was through COVID, and we couldn't even get down to go to his funeral. And my young fella went up from Wellington, and yeah, it was just a whole bad deal,
Yeah.
for a night, for a great guy, and just yeah, it's just terrible.
It's quite amazing how much Speedway brings people together, isn't it? I mean, you started way back then. You would never have thought it'd affect your life and within your family life and friend life as much, just doing Speedway. Or did you already see that when you were there watching who you said earlier? Or did you ever think it was going to affect you that much, getting involved that much in the sport?
Well, not really, because I got involved so young, and I didn't really know anyone. I didn't. No one gave me a hand, really. I just decided we're going to get involved, and I got involved, and yeah, we just went about our business for probably 5-10 years, doing it ourselves,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you say, just to catch up with Murray. Me and Murray have had our battles over the years, and we've had words too, But to catch up with him, down at Huntley, and I had a real good talk with him, and it was just awesome. It was awesome to catch up with him, and it's great, Same as Roger, like no one's battled as hard as him and Murray and Roger did, but they're not racing now. They seem like Phil Game. They're different people. They're quite approachable, and there was no one with a stronger will to win than those two, as far as I could see when I was around.
Yeah.
Their will to win was they didn't go there for anything else but to win.
So was it your goal back then that that I'm just gonna mute something there. Get back. Was it your goal back then that that's who you had to beat? Did you look at to them and say, right, if I want to be top dog in this sport, I need to beat them guys, those lot? Was that your goal, just to get ahead of them? Or?
I mean, obviously, I raced a lot more with Roger, and he was the man to beat. He set the bar. Obviously, at Waikaraka, he came from the Springs, and he set a bar and changed the way the sport was run at Waikaraka. Like he was a little bit more professional, and he set the bar, and that was the guy we looked at to beat, and obviously there was guys I was never at their level for till a long time later, but yeah, when we went out of town, there was always Murray and Willie Noonan and Ricky Martin, and like you say, Entwistle, Pickerel. There was a lot of even cars in those days. We used to get 20-car fields. That's what Murray was talking about the other day. To have a North Island title in Rotorua where we only had like 12 cars was pretty piss poor effort, really, to be quite honest with you, from the modified ranks.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad what I saw of it. And that's why I've stayed in the sport, is because I'm passionate about modifieds, and I really want to try and get some of these young guys coming out of mini stocks and get them into a modified because they're all doing well. All the ones that are in modifieds are doing well. Blair McPhee, Jonas, Brad, Luke, they're all come from mini stocks. You know, we never had that luxury of having mini stocks when we started. So these guys, when they get into a modified, they've already done 5 years racing.
Yeah.
And they're onto it, you know, they're smooth. But for some reason, a majority of them tend to sway to super stocks. For some reason, they love that, you know, because obviously that's the big thing in our sport is the super stocks. But the modifieds aren't that dear. They're not that dear, and it's a great class, great guys. And you know, you have your troubles, don't you? You know, you have run-ins with people, and because the emotions are running high, and you know, you're always going to get that, but you don't really set out to destroy someone's car or something like that. It's accidents do happen, and it does happen, you know. But yeah, it's a great class, and I just pretty disappointing. The turnout we had at Rotorua was not a good look for our class, I don't think.
Hey, you mentioned Western Springs there, Foxy, talking about Bertram coming from the Springs over to where you are and where he raced, obviously, as the 15A and so forth. Did you ever run a sprint car? Now we're talking about that at Springs. Did you ever jump in the sprint car and have a few laps in the sprint car?
I did one of Phil Games. I did it. I had a run at Western Springs, but I did race Ron Salter. He had Joey Saldana. He had him down here racing, and I raced their sprint car at the John Webster Memorial in Auckland, which was a great experience. Ron's another one who's, when I was younger, we never had a hell of a lot, and we sort of scabbed and did what we did to get a car, and he helped us out with some bits and pieces over the years, and consequently that's why I still run his name on the car now. You know, I mean, he's I don't forget the people that have put me where I am today. You know, I certainly didn't get there on my own. There's a big, long list of people that have helped out, you know.
Let's talk about that actually. They've helped out because you've had a relationship with sponsors that have been associated with you for multiple years. You know, you mentioned a couple there earlier in our chat before I technically dropped out and popped back in again. But, you know, mate, they've been supportive of you throughout your career. And obviously they see what they see in you, a lot in you. You use the word maybe as an ambassador in some sense, but, you know, you've worked with them. They've been by your side right through up and down the country. And, you know, you got to give credit to them that have supported you in the game, eh?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I definitely wouldn't be doing this without them. I mean, Container Sales and Leasing, Roger and his wife, and the things that he's been awesome all the years. Jamie, who obviously owns Jamo, everyone knows him by, he owns Fastening Solutions. He's a big part. We went to school together. We're still mates today, and he runs the organisation really. As you've seen, I could hardly work this telephone, let alone get organised to run a car. But yeah, he's the backbone behind it really, the race team, and he organises everything. And Chris and Jerry and Nick, Jamie's son, and Regan, Chris's son. That's our crew, you know, and they've been with me since school days, really.
Yeah, 100%, mate. One of the best highlights, Scott Phipps has just put a comment in there. I would have lost a few comments, so I do apologise when we dropped out to get things back up and going. His best highlight was 2007-08 racing a modified against Foxy. This was up in Whangarei. Phipsy was in the 15A car. Racing against you, mate. So he's got some good memories there. Daniel Petrie raises a good question because we talk about super stocks and the growth of their class from mini stocks, and they've got their historics, you know. Maybe your thoughts on Golden Oldies mod race. Bring back the legends to have a bit of a race one day. How good would that be to have yourself out there, mate? Mind you, you're still on the pace these days, but I think if you had Muzza Gorge out there, Bertram, you know, how cool would that see? Imagine having you know, they've done legends and stockies and everything. Imagine having a legends night on bloody modifieds, eh?
Well, yeah, hey, I mean, I got no doubt that Murray and Roger would still be able to pedal. There's no,
Yeah, yeah.
it's all right saying I'm still competitive. Don't worry about them, mate. They'll be still competitive, all right. Their nature of competitive wouldn't have dropped away. But I mean, obviously the accolades they deserve is, you know, they've been around before I was, and they set the benchmarks for what these guys have got today. So, you know, I certainly hope they're paid the respect that they deserve. You know, they've set the bar, and you know, there was no one more spectacular to watch than Murray when he got rolled up. Man, I tell you, he's a sight to be seen. I tell you, man, it's just awesome. I'm not scared of anyone on a racetrack, but man, he had me worried a couple of times.
I see how we talked about golden oldies. You know, a lot of comments going towards Amron. Actually, done a great job at the preparation of the super stocks and the modifieds as well. Road to golden oldies with AM's modified series. You know, maybe Huntley, maybe something in the works could happen out of what we've just talked about on here. Sounds good, bro, as long as we follow the river. Warren Buchanan, modified class is spectacular racing. Always been one of my favorites. That's from Warren. I did see a comment in there earlier before I dropped out from Aaron Lewis.
Yes.
Who was a big driver, Garage 16.
Yep.
Aaron and Vince, you know, the passion they had for the modified class, you know, they wanted to grow it. It was just their thing. He has a lot of words to say about you, mate, and it's bloody right up there. The accolades from him and how he loves the modifieds. He got out there to race his Garage 16 modified, the 16W at the recent champs. He was just happy to be part of a New Zealand champs. For him, he thought he had won the bloody thing, you know. But to be racing with you guys like yourself, the legends of the sport, the guy had the biggest smile going around.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, that's awesome, mate. It's awesome. We all had to start somewhere, and believe me, when I started out, mate, I was a lot worse than what he was. I couldn't, I couldn't string a lap together. But yeah, no, he obviously on that track was hard work, and he stayed out of trouble, and that's all you can ask for. You know, it was pretty hard racing.
What he did and Gareth 16 and him and Vince did for the modifieds in general though was pretty spectacular, wasn't it? I mean, they put a lot of time, effort, and promoted that class. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly did, and we prior to them, we ran a modified series, which Gemmo was quite a bit to do with it, and we ran it throughout New Zealand, and it was a good series, good money, but it died off. You know, it was for some reason we just couldn't keep it going, and that's the shame. Whereas you know, obviously the super stocks, you get 100 and something cars at a meeting. It's awesome to watch. And in the old days, we'd have 40 modifieds, and you'd have to have 2 days meeting. You know, but I just can't get my head around it why they're probably cheaper now than they were, and we just can't get the young ones into them. You know, I just don't know, can't work it out.
What made you pick modifieds though, Jamie? Like you went and watched saloons, and then you came out and went modifieds. What was the decision made you to go to that class?
I didn't race a saloon. I only raced that. That was only a few years back, actually. That saloon deal, but I was terrible in that. But I raced. I worked when I was 15. I worked at Royal Oak Auto Wreckers, and a guy by the name of John Jamison. Actually, John Jamison. He raced stock cars. So when we used to go up north, I used to race it up there. But I got knocked around a bit as a young fella in that, and I figured out when I saw the modifieds that was going to be the class for me, you know, and that's where I went straight away. I built a car because I was good mates with Billy Neal, and I drove his stock car a couple of times, and Clark Proctor was tied up with him, and yeah, no, that sport's you get knocked around on that, man, I'll tell you.
What about the Anglia body? I mean, you're known for that now. What was the switch to that? You've kept that for a while now. That body, it's everyone knows that's you.
Yeah, well, Paul Vasey built it. He's a super stock
Yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
Old Paul, a lot of guys know him. Him and his dad built it. They hand built that out of aluminium.
Oh, shit.
I come up with an idea. I just wanted a different body. Obviously, we had the big body car, which was a love lady car, but I spent all week just trying to fix the damage to the body all the time. So I wanted to build something a bit smaller. So we went with that, and Paul built that. He hand built that out of aluminium, and I ran it for years, and then we put it away and tried a couple of other things, and then we've been having such things haven't been going our way, and I thought we'll try and revive things by bringing back the body, and might get the spark back into it and see if we can change things.
Oh,
So
here I was thinking was Harry Potter. It was all to do with bloody Harry Potter, the movie. Or ankle box flying around in the sky. You know how it goes. Bloody hell.
No, we just wanted something to look different, and obviously Paul made an awesome job of building it. We've had quite a lot of people inquire about wanting one, but yeah, it was an awesome deal he done for us building that, and he's another guy that over the years has helped me out. You know, he's a good mate of mine, so we've called on him a few times, and yeah, it's all about the friends and family, isn't it?
It is, mate. 100% it is, yeah.
Hey, Aaron Lewis, who just made mention of Aaron before, you know, I got to race against Foxy at Waikaraka Park. One of the highlights of my entire Speedway journey. We even touched wheels once he lapped me. So there you go, when you lapped Aaron Lewis. I love watching Murray Gorge. This is from Warwick Buchanan. Loved watching Murray Gorge win it or bin it. That was his attitude. You know, Murray that's only one way he knew. He was wanting to win. But then again, when you take a look at the era of races, everyone just wanted to bloody win, go hard at it, no matter the cost.
Well, I think Stratford track is conducive to that type of racing. You have to run hard there. If you don't run hard, you're not going to finish in the top few. You know, you really got to get on the gas and get going there. And obviously that's why they've had so many champions in all classes, not just modifieds, the saloons, everything. You know, Blondie, all those guys come from there. Barry Pajewski, great racers.
Skinny
Colson.
Mm-hmm. Skinny Colson.
Yeah, Skinny. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking of the word skinny, I'll throw this at you. Carolyn Pearson. Are you the bloke that worked at McQueen's Machinery in Onehunga in the younger days? Don't forget Skinny Rules, Foxy.
Yeah. That's where I worked. That's where I built my second car there. That was McEwen's Hire. McEwen's Hire. I started there when I was 15. Day I turned 15.
Oh yeah.
I left the wrecking yard and I went to work there.
Mate, there's some great names coming in. I remember racing against Bob and Gene Cook, Jeff Ward, Rob, Samalon, is it? Lyndon Kendall. Yeah. Gary Harris.
Yeah. I raced all of them. Bruce Harris I raced with. I ended up with one of Gene Cook's motor. Ron Willoughby was building their motor, and I went from a 6-cylinder to a V8. And that was my first V8 when I was at McEwen's. I put it in that car I built, and Lyndon was another hard charger, and there was some great people. My memory's terrible now, but I remember I'm trying to think of the young fella raced. His old man was a sprint. Tony Allen. We raced with the Allen boys. They raced modifieds and both the sons. That's there was some great drivers and been and gone. You know, it was like I say, it's an awesome class.
With you saying that drivers been and gone. Oh, sorry, kids.
Yeah. Carry on.
You're saying drivers been and gone, and you've seen a lot come and go, and you've raced a lot. Who in your eyes do you think is sort of sitting there at the top of their game at the moment in the modifier class? Who do you see coming through that's in your eyes that someone that is going to be on top for years to come, so to speak? Or Anyone you see that stands
Well,
out to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's obviously Brad Lane, who's 1NZ now. Luke Brown, obviously the young fella Mitchell from
Yes.
Christchurch.
Yeah.
Jonas England and Blair McPhee. Unfortunately for Blair and Jonas, they were both. Blair pretty much at the start of the year, mate, was unbeatable. I couldn't see anyone beating him. I went to Wellington for a function because my kids lived down there, and I snuck off to the Speedway, and he was just on another level. But unfortunately, he had that big crash, and that's it's put a bit of a halt to everything, and it's knocked him back. And now Jonas is going through the same thing. You know, we went through it. I had a bad flip at Stratford and broke my sternum. And, you know, these things, you don't just get back in them. They take a little while. You damage a lot of gear. There's one thing I don't think people realise when they watch Brad Lane, you know, like that guy puts it all out there every race. And the amount of, you know, he's got damage, he's getting, whether it's not always his fault, but he gets that thing back together, he's out on the next race, and he just does it week in, week out, you know, and it's a lot of work, man, a lot of work, you know, like you tear gear up, and that guy, for his effort, he deserves to have won the New Zealand champs, you know, he's a pleasure to race against, he's hard, he's happy. He's awesome, you know, like he's pretty focused for the New Zealand's. Obviously, that was his home track and he deserved to win that. And he's, you know, he's going to be a hard charger because not a lot of people can spin it and come back straight away like that. Some of these guys, Jonas has been pretty knocked around like Blair. So it's going to take a little while for him to come back, you know, and whether they come back as good as what they were, you like to hope so, but it's a bit of a recovery for him, and it's also a lot of damage to his car.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got something in there from Jacko, John Jackson.
I saw that.
Foxy. Tell them about being at Thomas Place and riding Sheldon's bike.
Yeah, no, we used to get up to no good. We won't get into those sort of stories.
Well, Jacko's told us some stories about him that he tried to hide too from his wife.
No, they were good days, mate. I fondly remember, you know, we used to have a few scrums in the club rooms in Auckland against Wellington. Yeah, no, we had more injuries outside of racing than we did racing, that's for sure.
Oh, wicked, all right. I see Tom Ward here just, you know, helped him finish and getting the car ready in Auckland. Tom Ward's watching as well. Maybe that's why younger generation are jumping in them. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, what goes on through. Just some good memories, mate. It's been some bloody good memories reflecting on some of these names tonight, eh?
Yeah, no, it's awesome to hear from all these people, and yeah, I've got a lot of fond memories. You know, it's hard, and we're all getting older now, and things don't go the way you want them to go. But you know, we won't give up. We'll keep going as long as we can be competitive, and like you say, I still enjoy it. So that's what it's all about.
Mate, as long as you're enjoying it. Look, you're 37 years straight since 1986. 3 more, crack that 40 and see what happens from there. Make that your goal, to make the magic 40, and we'll just see what happens. You're competitive. You're at the pointy end of every race meeting you go to, and all the accolades with the list I've got here, mate. 4 in a row, 2012, 2016, 14 podiums. That's at the North Islands, 13 podiums at the NZGP. 9 Dirt Cup champions, like I mentioned earlier, 14 times Auckland, 12 times Waikato champ, previously won the Bay Park Modifieds. Bloody hell, what haven't you won? You nearly won everything here. 13 podiums, NGGP, and that's Jamie, as you said earlier on, that sent through some of the information to help out with tonight's show, mate. You know, pineapples at Stratty this weekend. That's from Fredo. Pineapples, mate.
Yeah, that was was a guy who used to crew for well, he crewed for Arkwright in the early years, I think, and then he crewed for Bunter, and he worked for Willie Roach, who was big in modifieds, and yeah, they've got a drink they mix up with white rum and pineapples, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but ask Jacko, it's not too good for you.
Might make you go sliding along the bloody floor.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacko. Ian McDonald. Hi, Foxy. A bit of memory here for you from Ian McDonald. Do you remember Ken McDonald and Paul Hunt?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Even ever
good
keen
to
to
hear,
run? Yeah, ever keen to run at Miani again? You know, if they ran modifieds there from Muddy Goodley, would you go down to Miani, book his own track, and run a few laps down there?
Oh yeah, I've never ran there. We went to Gisborne this year, the first time I've ever been to Gisborne, and they were awesome bunch of guys down there. But yeah, no, I didn't go to that other meeting that the boys went to. But yeah, no, we'll definitely support any of those meetings. You know, that's it's awesome to get to places we've never run.
I would love to see the modifieds at Miani. Oh my gosh, man, that would be.
Yeah,
I'd be parked up at lunchtime.
I think the young fella Dykstra's the guy, he's running the mod. He's doing a bit of work on the guys down that way to try and rejuvenate the class down there, because like you say, there's a lot of guys that have been in super stocks and they're starting to get a bit hurt or getting a bit over it, and they still want to race. And the class is not that dear, you know, like Ricky said, it's he raced super stocks and his family raced super stocks, so you know he knows the cost of it, and he said the modifieds aren't anywhere near that sort of expense, you know, unless you have motor troubles. But if you've got a good engine builder, you should be all right. So yeah, he's doing a bit of work. He's the one who organised the race meeting down the line the other week, which unfortunately I couldn't get to. But yeah, I think if we can get a couple more guys like him down that way, like we used to run at Palmerston. We had, you know, I raced with Paul Dewar, old Mike Moore, all those guys are great guys, you know.
They had them at those teams each year too, didn't they? I think the modifieds, they were freaking awesome.
We won the first one or two champs they had there for the modifieds at the teams champ. For the second year, I should have entered the teams race and I smashed the thing to bits. I ended up sitting on the back watching it.
And why not bring them back to bloody Palmy teams? You know, as another class are coming there. I think it'll be bloody awesome. John Jackson says, Rusty K, it's violent. It's violent.
Yeah. He was a great guy too, you know, like that whole outfit, they're all good guys, top blokes, you know. You just
Bruce Martin, back in the day, cool modifieds back in the day at Miani. Bruce Martin, quick cameo like I done on Sunday. See what happens. 2011, 2012 might have been. He's maybe reflecting on Bruce Martin. Not too sure if in his relation to Ricky Martin, who seemed to pedal pretty well out of Huntley, and the likes of Prickerel. And then, of course, you had Tony Galbraith. There's some bloody big names. Wayne Davis, another out of Rotorua. Now I'm going to show my age watching you racing, mate. And Willie Noonan out of Stratford. You know, the list just goes on. There's been so many legends. Greg Keegan down south. Actually, Tony Frost. Did you race against Bigfoot? Yeah. I raced against him several times. I was in the meeting when he won the New Zealand's at, I think it was Greymouth. He won there, and he was another hard peddler, like really hard peddler, man. They were top guys, you know, but I still see him around. I think his son races stock cars now, so I've seen him a couple of times when we've been at meetings and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, I raced against them, with them, and raced against a lot of those guys, you know. And, well, yeah, I raced with Greg. I raced with Greg when he had his own car and the Love Lady cars.
He was a very smooth driver, very, very smooth operator. And obviously John was a great man with the mods, and he knew how to set things up, and they were very close right till the end, till John passed away, him and Greg.
Yeah,
Well,
Wayne
before we
West,
wrap it up, we're just about close to wrapping up here. But what's your favourite track and bogey track?
I suppose Waikaraka would probably be my favourite track because it's my home track. But Christchurch, Canterbury is I've just struggled to get my head around that place. I really do. But like I said, I was lucky enough to win a New Zealand title there. But yeah, just on the average night, man, do we have some fun down there trying to get it going, I'll tell you.
Hey, let's talk about fun. It's not only the fun you had here in New Zealand racing the Speedway, but you're lucky a few years back to travel over with the crew to go to the States and have a bit of a look at some of the racing over there.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to do that. It's just on another level over there, isn't it? You know, those guys are racing 3-4 times a week, and yeah, totally different to here. But you know, our New Zealand sprint car drivers, they're doing pretty good, man. Those guys come out here and they give them a fair run for their money, you know. Our New Zealand, like Michael Pickens is obviously something else, isn't he? You know, like he's just great to be able to run midget and a sprint car like he does. Is pretty. It's no mean feat, you know. And that's not just the fitness, that's the financial side of it, the work side of it. He's obviously got everything set up well to be able to do that, because it's hard work just running one, not without two of them, you know.
Yeah. He's a talent, all right, that man.
Yeah. The best times in old Rotorua club rooms, working on the car in the car park at 3 in the morning, replacing the front end. That's from Lance Stevens.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time ago, yeah. Yeah, those were the days in Rotorua.
Trevor Shard, yeah, Trevor's another good one. I think Trevor was 63 in from memory. Back in the day, the big white body, you know, and you can tell, I loved watching the modifieds. I enjoyed watching yourself and your big yellow body in the 99 car. And I thought to myself, sitting next to the family, it says, if I win bloody lotto, I'm going to go buy that car off that guy one day. I just liked it, you know. And I remember the good old days. You talked about the angler body, and he was another guy that experimented with bodies or modifieds for his Philip game. You know, he tried this and that, from big bodies to a shorter version. He tried all sorts, eh?
Yeah. I mean, he was spectacular to watch when he was on fire, old Phil. You know, he was something else. And his brother Bill, you know, they were hard case buggers, and I had the pleasure of meeting their old man. His old man was a character, you know, and yes, just Phil's still around, but he comes now and again. I think he's still tied up with Luke, helps Luke a little bit, I think. But yeah, like us, he's getting on now, so I think he likes to relax a bit.
Yeah, mate. Hey, look, I know we're only going to keep you here for an hour joining us tonight, and it's gone well over there.
Yeah, we've gone past our time.
Yeah, it's actually justified in that as well, because the fans have kept the comments. And what we've got out of tonight's show is not only just talking to one of our true ambassadors of Speedway sport here in New Zealand, but a true legend around modifieds. But what's even been great about this, Jamie, is the time you're taking out to join us, but also the names that have come back and to bring back and spike up your memory again. You know, some of the great names you raced along with. And you said at the start of the show, your memory was a bit bloody shot. You're not so used to this interview stuff. You just do stuff on the track, but you've handled yourself well. You connected well right at the start. And what I've liked out of this is just some of these names we reflected on throughout your racing career. You know, it's bloody awesome. You're your own book. You're your own autobiography in modified racing for Speedway, mate. You know, it's been a bloody pleasure talking to you tonight.
Thank you. No, the pleasure's all mine. It's been great.
You'll have to go back on the Facebook afterwards, mate. This goes back up after we finish this there, and read some of the comments. These the accolades to yourself is very humbling. You'll have to go back and just go back and read some of the comments and look at what people have to say, because it just shows the mark you've made in the sport and how much respect you've got with what you've done on the track and off the track. So, yeah, congratulations on achieving that, mate, because not a lot of people can achieve that in their racing career, of the respect from on and off the track as well.
Oh, thank you guys, man, and thanks everyone for watching. You know, it's been like you say, I don't really know much about doing this stuff, but so I've got to keep up with the young fellas somehow. They're kicking my ass on the track, so I've got to do this.
Right. Well, look, and I'm going to leave it with one of the young ones for the final comment here from Jesse Lee Smith. Go, Granddad.
Oh, that's
You're
my
awesome.
friend.
You're
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
She's
Right?
in Aussie. She's just had a baby too, so hi, darling.
And that's what our show's about. You know, we know the accolades and we can sit and share what you've achieved on the track, but you've achieved so much. But it's the family. You talk about the wife earlier on, you know, how you got into it and a bit of that payout, helped you get a car. But it's the kids, it's the grandkids, the reflection of the family, the commitment from your crew, your dedicated sponsors over the many years have turned you into the true talent you are. Like Booker said, the accolades are all in the comments, mate. You deserve it. And you've entertained fans around the tracks in your modified, whether it was 99 or 11. You've just done what you've done, and you brought big smiles to so many fans. So it has been awesome. Deirdre Watson, just loved every moment watching you race. Our granddaughter loves seeing you. Always have time for your fans, you know. We can't go any higher than that, mate.
No, awesome. Thank you very much. That's been a pleasure.
Right, you've done it.
We're gonna do a
Thank
wrap
you.
on that. So yeah, you did really well. Yeah, you actually went better with the technical stuff than Kins did tonight. So
Yeah. He put me crookers. He swapped around on the other side now.
Hey, thanks, Foxy.
No,
we appreciate
awesome,
the
man.
time, mate, and we hope to catch up and see you around the track soon, mate.
Yeah,
We
true
will.
legend,
Thank
mate.
you very much, guys.
Yes.
Thanks, eh?
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers,
you,
Thank
Foxy.
you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome.
Cheers. There we go. Jamie Fox, legend, is one word that wraps him up when it comes to modified classes. You know, we spoke to Murray Gorge. We do plan to catch with Roger Bertram around at the Lanes Motorsport Shed and talk to many other guests. And made mention, and Booker brought up the comment at the start of the show, 10th Nationals next week. We'll try and organise something. I'm guessing it'll be just a Wednesday night show, catch up with a couple of drivers from the teams and work it out. We'll see what happens. And talking of legends, just to give you the heads up, we'll catch up with the Cardwell family, father and son, Tony and Craig, in a few weeks' time. So look forward to that. But cheers for the great comments. Thanks for the memories. It's jogs Foxy's mind. He's sitting there in the background, just chilling out at the moment, looking at the comments. But Booker, what a night it's been. Forget about my technical bloody issues.
Mate,
It's just been a hell of a night.
It's always good to, you know, talk to someone like Foxy that they've not done it before, and he looked as comfortable as like he'd been doing it for years, mate. You know, like, and hearing some of the stories and how things happened and who he raced against. I mean, and seeing the comments and accolades from everybody out there in the world of internet, and you know, it just shows how much respect the man's got on and off the track, Kins. You know, and not a lot of drivers get that. You know, you've got to be a pretty good guy and a pretty good driver to get that from other drivers on and off the track. And that's what our sport's about, mate. You know, seeing that and seeing that history. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, mate. Hey, and thanks for all those wonderful comments. Yeah, thanks for the thanking us for the show. But, you know, it's all about you, the fans that jump in and watch and join us. So, yeah, a true legend on the show. And thanks to Jamie for the information helping us out as well. Not Jamie Fox, the other Jamie that helps him out. And yeah, thanks, Booker. You take care, and everyone out there, be safe. If you're on school holidays, just be safe out there in the roads, and we'll catch you next Wednesday. We'll do a bit of a Teams National build-up type of thing. We'll see how we can pull off, eh?
Just watch the Facebook. Thanks, guys and girls. See you next time.
See ya. Welcome along, everyone. What was it like, that experience, jumping into your first race?
It's been my life ever since I can remember.
Look, it really was unbelievable.
I think it's awesome.
Just go out there and give it your every time. And
When you're young and you're getting your old man super stock and you wreck it, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Craig Booker with the big smile. He is the voice that's behind what you get to hear every Sunday night.
Give it the hoot, Nanny. Look at that field. Doesn't it look fantastic?